Good morning from the studio. Time for another painting. It's a nice morning here in Auckland and I'm going to paint the painting behind me. So I've just finished Blue Cod Pear, taken a painting I did which was smaller and expanding it. And it was great doing another run at it. And while I was doing it, I saw one that I'd like to use a piece of and try again here too. This is Dish Liquid Alfonsino from, you might have seen on my site. The name, like a lot of these in the series, it is a fish that lives in the area. Alfonsino is a little pink, little orangey fish that lives in New Zealand waters, and a chemical that it shares its water with. And here is a pier where there was a lot of tankers and industrial boats, and there's a lot of oily kind of slick scum on the water, and it looked a lot like, like a slick kind of dish liquidy kind of a thing, which wasn't a good thing. So that's what I did a sketch of. That's what I painted here. But what I was really interested in this painting wasn't this part of the water, it was this rope. That's the whole reason I painted it, and that's what attracted me to it, was this rope, which was an overhanging rope, and it was really the reflection of it in the noon sun that you saw all these kind of patterns coming down, like a snake across the water. But when it's been in my studio, I've had a look at this and thought, wow, this area here would be great to have a reworking of. And the colours in this is very typical New Zealand water. You've got a lot of teals in here, deep greens, through to some of the lighter blues. But I'd like to push it. So what I'm going to be doing is really trying to maximise these, have richer greens and blues, big brush, and really just focusing on this kind of area up here. I'll probably tweak around with it a little bit before I'm finished. It won't kind of look like that, but it'll give you a bit of an idea. First thing first, I don't like working on a blank canvas when I start the morning, so I've got a pencil out and just basically did a road map, just so I can get an idea of what it'll look like. When I start painting, that'll change, and I'll paint over a lot of that stuff as well too, but it just gives me somewhere to start. Second thing, cup of coffee. Third thing, get out the scraper, scrape out the bit of glass that I use for mixing all my paints, so I can start fresh. And if I start the day with a coffee and end with a beer, it's been a good day's painting.
As I usually do, I start with the darkest areas and then paint forward into the lighter tones. And here, I'm really going to want to push the tones and the colours well outside of what you'd see in nature. So just like when you're writing a book, where there are rules with structure and plot that you need to keep in mind, when you're constructing a visual image, you also need to have in mind the tonal language that you're going to use. And if you do this right and consistently, then you can push the tones and use almost any colours you want, and the painting should still read clearly to a viewer's eye. And that's how, when you see a purple haystack in an impressionist painting, it makes sense. Or in this case, a big canvas full of strokes of purples and yellows, greens and blues will become water. So my visual rules for this painting are that blues are the surface of the water and greens are the depth. So wherever the sun hits the water, the sky is reflected and so it's blue. And in the shade, I can see through the surface of the water, so that'll be green. Where the light hits the water directly, you'll get these swirly, very light green highlights, which your eye will read as white. So a quick thing to remember is that no ocean is just one colour blue. Here I already have 3 blues, and by the time the painting's finished, I'll have 6 or 7. Now it's time to start having fun. You can see through the water on the top right hand side by the wharf. And how that happened is because of this visual language. Green is depth, blue is surface. So some smoky blue dashes make a surface where you can peer through to the water below. The reflections on the main part of the painting are from what's sitting on top of the wharf, which is just outside the canvas frame. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's making a hell of a mess, and it's making the sea all oily. Highlights go in. And here I thought I might be finished, but it still kind of feels flat, and also I don't like the balance. So I mixed up some bright yellow greens and I painted some more lights onto the top right area, then blocked in the wharf. Yeah, that's better. Last thing, I have a pass at the highlights. I don't use black or white, so these swirly highlights are a very light green, and the darks are a dark blue. And yeah, that's good. I'm looking forward to varnishing this and seeing it on a wall.